Sean Whaley is furious.
He's upset. 100%.
Oh, what a beautiful Friday we're having. Welcome in, everyone, to a brand new edition of Axe Cake Picks, episode 147. Today is Friday, October 18th, 2024. Joe, what are we wearing, kid? I mean, we're Met fans here, but man, what a gut punch last night was, kid. How the fuck you doing?
Yeah, it certainly was. But man, you don't want to see us now. Backs against the wall. I mean, we're the amazing Mets. This is the time to fear us the most. So I got to believe until the old lady sings. You know what I mean? It's you got to have that belief, man. It's never over till it's over. So what I did to kind of get my mind off, I watched One Friday Fights 83 this morning. It ended in a spectacular knockout. And other events that are taking a back seat this weekend are Brave CF 89. And there's even a title fight for the IBF World Superweight. It's Bakram Murtazalayev taking on Tim Tszyu. So that's a boxing match that'll probably, like I said, take a back seat with all the events taking place this weekend.
It has the old saying goes, when you're fighting for nothing or you have nothing to lose, you're the most dangerous person. So hopefully we stretch it to 7 games. I love to see that, but I don't know. I just think our luck might be running out just a little. But that's baseball. Let's get into MMA. We got a great show for you guys. We'll recap Dana White Contender Series. Final week ended, and Joey ended it with a bang. We'll talk about that. We got a PFL Battle of the Giants. Francis Ngannou makes his heavyweight return to the PFL. Renan Ferreira. Going to be a fantastic fight. You got Larissa Pachenko against Chris Cyborg, Johnny Eblen, Fabian Edwards. And I was just telling Joe, I think the opener, AJ McKee versus the stud, the rising Cage Warriors superstar, Paul Hughes. That's going to be fantastic. Big news, Paul Hughes. And then we're right back at the Apex, UFC Vegas 99. We're one away. We are one away from the big UFC 100 headline by Neil Magny. But we got a great card for you today as well. But Joe, we ended Dana White Contender Series 4-0, 6-0 with totals in the year 2024, 27-14 overall. Just give yourself a hand of applause. Good job, kid.
Heck yeah, but not much luck involved. I did the work. I put in a little bit of time to look up these fighters and then took my time in procuring the pick. So, I mean, it paid off. I mean, we're here after week 10 of 2024. And man, we'll get him back next year. I'm sure I want to keep this train rolling because I look back and I think I was 13 picks above 500 last year. We're about, what was that? The same this year, right? 13 picks above 500 this year again. And we went 6-0 in total. So, I mean, it was an exciting, Dana White Contender Series this past Tuesday. The call out, Nick Klein, he's like, John Jones is the greatest fighter that's ever lived.
What? He got the submission in 37 seconds? Quick. So, big win for him. 4 out of the 5 winners got a contract. Julieta Martinez is the only winner to miss out on.
Fight. She's still undefeated, but it's just Dana White was being a little
decisions. We talk about it every week. We're repetitive. But we say this all the time. You can't leave it in the judges' scorecard, especially with Dana White. But a lot of finishes. Your boy Jonathan Miaclef defeated the Canadian
in the first fight. He had that nice submission. Adu is no joke. He was undefeated going in. Yeah. And he got caught, man. You can never doubt a triangle from bottom, bro, honestly.
What happened to our boy, Nicky?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Luis Carrillo, though it was a decision victory, beating, Piccinini, the ex-wrestler, he's got that pedigree. Luis Carrillo's an undefeated guy, beats this guy with the pedigree, and he deserved a contract because I think it was Nick's chance to get in. And after another letdown, there was no choice but to let Luis Carrillo in.
Yeah, this season was the 8th season of the Dana White Contender Series, and we saw the 3rd most contracts in the history of Dana White Contender Series. Season 1, we saw 16. Season 2, we saw 23. Season 3, 30. Season 4, 37. Season 5, 39. Season 6, 43. Season 7 last year had the most with 46. And then this year ended with 42 contracts signed, delivered into the UFC. We're getting a lot of young faces, new faces.
I mean, it makes sense. Let's think about it. That's based off about 50 fights, right? Yeah. 10 weeks of 5 fights per card. And on average, it's seeming like you're saying it's going up and up. So we're getting more finishes, it seems. If Dana's giving out those contracts, we're getting more and more finishes. So, yeah, that's what you're going to have to do to get a contract. You're going to have to perform exceptionally well and hope to get a finish in there. And I look forward to 2025. I really do.
And, you know, we're definitely going to be covering it next season as well. I guess the biggest thing for me looking or trying to advocate to get new fans into UFC, I guess what's the biggest thing you look forward to or you look at when breaking down these Dana White Contender Series? Because you've been profitable now 2 years in a row. What do you look at moving forward to become profitable?
So the Ritter 8, I do look at a couple different websites. Give shout out ShareDog, shout out Tapology. I mean, they're doing great things and they've been doing it for years now, you know, giving displays of their records. You know, sometimes you'll see you know, an illegitimate fight posted up there, and they'll have like not a no contest, but it'll have like a question mark. So they're really in detail of what they're seeing. And then I take what I see on paper and then apply it to the YouTube videos. You got to do a little bit of searching there. Thank God for YouTube, because when you go and you can see some of these fighters fight in the, you know, the lower levels, the regional promotions, you can see how they perform and see how that may, you know, progress as they get to the UFC. You know, maybe they performed really well as a challenger, and when they got to the title, the lower promotions, maybe they lost the belt, and now they're here at the UFC. So maybe there's a little hesitancy as they get to the, you know, brighter lights. You know, all these, that's the one thing that you can't take into factor is the human element. You know what I mean? As we're seeing with the Mets, you mentioned the clutch gene's got to be there. And if you're not clutch, you're probably going to lose. So I think it's a lot about seeing their skills on paper, seeing their records on paper, seeing their skills on tape, and then seeing how they perform in the clutch.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Joe. It was an amazing Dana White Contender Series. Hey, if you're not listening to Joe and cashing these tickets, I know I have 6-0 in totals, 27-14 overall this season. So congratulations, Joe. Keep up the great work. And like you said, we're going to keep honing in, and we're going to keep breaking down these Dana White Contender Series. Do you road to the UFC? Do you like that series, like all the way in Asia?
Yeah. So, you know, the Asian-centric fighters, it's a little harder to find some of their videos. Now, I'm sure you'll find them out there, but it's a little bit harder because you got a little bit more of a melting pool going on in the States and maybe in like Middle East or like Europe. And so that's why we're focusing on the road to UFCs, because we're trying to grow the Asian market. We're trying to grow the African market. We're trying to grow these markets so that they can have some of the best athletes in the world compete on the grand stage of them all. So.
Yeah, Dana White even said after the press conference, he was saying we're seeing a lot of influence in Asia, in South America as well. We're seeing in South Africa as well. We have a champ, Dricus du Plessis, as well. So we're getting them from everywhere, kid, and you just love to see it, and it's just continuing to grow each and every year. But before we get to our picks, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It is no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or a new coconut flavor watching UFC Vegas 99, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with our Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, let's get into these picks. We'll start with the Battle of the Giants. I really like this. It's starting. We got a little early start time because it is taking place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Prelims start at 1:30 here on the East Coast.
A lot of good fights.
And we got the main card kicking off at 4 p.m. here on the East. A lot of heated face-offs. I don't know if you saw the last face-off between Francis Ngannou and Renan Ferreira.
Renan Ferreira looks bigger than him.
He looks bigger, and he looks like he's not scared, and he looks like he's going to walk him down.
Bro, it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah,
I'm expecting the main event to live up to expectations, actually.
Where are you starting here?
So I'm you know, I have a play. I didn't, in my Tapology, I didn't touch the prelim card at all. You know, and I want to take it a little back to when you were talking about the names of the week. You remember that? And we have a lot of difficult names, and I could go off the pronunciation, but I think the winner of the name game is going to be Nacho Campos in the prelims. That's a fantastic name. So I expect a good fight between him and Ibrahim Imavimov. So
plus 800 for Nacho.
Yeah, exactly. But he got the win. You know, he got the win with the name. So I'll go with the main event of the prelims. Rafion Superstats. He's a -550 favorite, taking on Marcos Breno. And I got to go with Super Stots. Not many losses on the record. I'm pretty sure it was only, Patchy Mixer gave him that knee knockout rather recent. He squashed his rivalry with Danny Sabatello off a decision victory, which kind of dragged out a little bit, but it just shows that his wrestling, everything that he has to offer is up to par. And I just don't like the level of competition I've seen from Marcos Breno. So I'd got to go with Rafion Stotts here, minus 550. I didn't see any props really, but just how based of a favorite he is and his ability to get the job done. I think Danny Sabatello is just as equal wrestler as him, and that's why you went to the scorecard. I think you got to play him inside the distance here. I take Rafion Stotts inside the distance. Did you, D-Rock, see any props?
I see props. I'm not going to lie. I was looking I think on Wednesday. I didn't see anything either. So they were a little later to the game. But yeah, Stotts to win inside the distance plus 230.
I like that. Yeah, that's a viable play. Give you some plus money, get you more value out of a minus 550 favorite. So let's go to what could possibly be fight of the night in the opening fight of the main card. Man, in the lightweight division, AJ McKee Jr. minus 175 favorite. To see AJ McKee as a minus 175 favorite, as most of the times you see him going where we have Rafion Stotts like minus 500 and upwards, that just goes to show how good Paul Hughes could actually be. I think the hype is real. I've been fading a lot of Cage Warriors fighters in the past, and I just see that they don't translate well when they, fight to the bright lights. But Paul Hughes has been at the big show since the beginning of his career. I mean, they've been hyping this guy over there since he was like 16 years old, and he's still relatively young, but has now accumulated a 12-1 record. I mean, he knocks people out. He could go the distance, so he's not afraid to, empty the gas tank and still have some left for you. Man, I got to take the value in Paul Hughes here at plus 160. Give me big news, and I think it's going to be exactly that, big news for the PFL.
I love it. I think this is going to be fight of the night, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's a sleeper fight, man. If it, I did on my Tapology take him with the first round knockout. Catch AJ McKee, it could happen. Not likely, but I mean, a 3-round war going to the judges would be entertaining.
Does it derail Paul Hughes if he gets starched or if he gets dominated? Do you think it sets him back a little bit? Because I know a win over AJ McKee elevates him.
Yeah, it opens up the floodgates for him, but a loss will send him back to defending his title in Cage Warrior. So I don't know how bad of a drop in stock that would be for him. He would probably just have to stick around there, maybe defend the belt a couple times, and maybe we'll see him in the Dana White Contender Series next year. Ooh. So that's something you keep out if he does lose this one. And let's move to the featherweight fight, man. Hussein Khadimagomedov, he's minus 650. He's taking in Zafar Mosin at plus 625, man. I do expect Zafar Mosin here to be durable, be tough. It's not often, especially it's not in the PFL season. During the PFL season, a lot of guys aim for that finish in the first round to get ahead so they could be in a viable position for the playoffs. But being that that's not up for play here, this is kind of like, like you said, a Bellator / we're going to have a Bellator title defended in a featured bout. We're having PFL stars in the PFL super fights, Battle of the Giants. I just think that other fights are going to take the limelight, and I do feel like it's going to be highly competitive. So maybe the line is a little far for Hussein here. I got to take him being that he's the favorite, but I do see a decision. So if you want to take a prop, I probably think you get some value out of Khadimagomedov with the decision. Do you want
you want odds for that?
Yeah, I was going to say, have you seen anything regarding decision victory for Hussein Khadimagomedov?
Yeah, to win by decision plus 750.
750. Oh my God. So they're expecting a finish in here.
Yeah.
Tremendous value. But I guess it seems it's not likely. But he has some submission victories in his belt. He mainly has TKOs. So I could see why they're expecting to finish. But look at Mosin, hasn't been finished much in his career.
Yeah, fight to go all 3 rounds. Plus 500, so they're thinking of.
So even if you just take it straight up without picking a side, I would definitely side with Khadimagomedov. So, as I said, the future bout, we're here. The Bellator Middleweight Championship is on display, and Johnny Eblen is returning to fight Fabian Edwards. We're getting this fight again. It's Johnny Eblen versus Fabian Edwards too. Johnny Eblen is a minus 550 favorite. Fabian Edwards plus 455. I don't like this odds. If you recall the fight prior to the finish, Fabian Edwards was competing with him on the feet. It was Johnny Eblen hunting those takedowns, and you see him becoming desperate when he fought Impa Kasaganai, hunting those takedowns to find a path to victory, because without that wrestling, I don't think Johnny Eblen can really stand with the best strikers in the world, and I think that's going to be a flaw in this one if Fabian Edwards turns it on. I think after Leon losing the belt, hopefully he put all the attention to his brother And then we have a great camp coming from Fabian Edwards. I like the plus money. I'm hunting the dogs this day. I'm going to take the plus 455 with Fabian Edwards. I'm taking the assassin to assassinate Eblen and become the new Bellator middleweight champ.
Yeah, you definitely got the best odds because right now, Fabian Edwards plus 300, plus 255.
Money's coming in.
Yeah, money's coming in.
Absolutely. So we made it to the co-main event, man. I did like the press conference, regarding this fight. I think a lot of people are disrespecting Larissa Pachenko, man. I have seen a lot of focus on Chris Cyborg. This is her, the legacy tour, the last 3 fights of her career. Man, don't sleep on Larissa Pachenko. You know what I mean? Like she could go in there and start her in the first round. I mean, minus 130 on the books for a reason. I got to take Larissa Pachenko. Are you backing me?
No, I am going to disrespect her as well. Give me the legend, Chris Cyborg. I don't doubt Larissa Pachenko can give Cyborg some problems, but, I do think the champ, I think her striking is better. I think she has more experience, and she has more finishing capabilities as well. It doesn't give me much confidence that Larissa Pachenko, and, she didn't really last. She lasted the distance with Kayla Harrison as well. So I feel like as the rounds go on, Chris Cyborg is going to just wear down Larissa Pachenko to the point where she's just going to be slowing down and eventually get the finish. So, yeah, I love Chris Cyborg here. Plus 105. I see plus 125, plus 126. So shop around, but I do like the dog here.
Yeah, I appreciate your take. If you look at their UFC records and their history there, man, Larissa Pachenko did not have a good UFC run. I mean, look at who she got finished by. All finishes. Jessica Andrade, Germaine de Randamie, Macy Chiasson. I mean, she got finished by not the best of opponents, to be honest with you. And you look at Chris Cyborg's career, she only got finished by, the GOAT.
Then she ran to the minors.
Hey.
Like Juliana Pena was saying. I love
but here's the opposite. Kayla Harrison comes to the majors. So we'll see her fight for the bantamweight title and see if, those wins or losses mean anything, So may the best man win in the co-main event, my boy. But we've made it to the main event. It's for the PFL Heavyweight Super Fight Championship. That's a mouthful. Yeah. Francis Ngannou, the A side of this all, is minus 275. Been a long time coming to get him back into the cage. Taking on Renan Ferreira at plus 280. D-Rock, I will hand this off to you. Who do you got in the main event?
Yeah, chalky, but I do like Francis here, minus 240. But I think for a value play, over 1.5 rounds at plus 165, I think is a good bet, if I'm being honest. Renan Ferreira has won 4 fights in a row by TK or TKO inside 6 minutes, where Ngannou, his resume is stuffed, 11 first-round finishes. He lasted boxing. His last 2 fights have been in boxing, but he just came off a loss to Stipe. What was that? Back 2018. And that was a powerful puncher as well. He had a snoozer with Derek Lewis for 15 minutes. I can see, this taking a little while to get going. And, I just feel like the last time we saw Ngannou, he defended his title against Cyril Gane. He used 4 takedown, more than 8 minutes of ground control and, just time on the ground. So I think the strategy came out of nowhere, and I think it surprised some people. And I think that could be the same thing here versus Ferreira, especially since Ferreira has shown little resilience to takedowns, and he's kind of useless off of his back. And, don't forget, he was taken down at will, controlled by that, I forgot his name, but it's Kildalson Abreu as well. So back when he versed him,
Abreu, back in the
Rizin
PFL, this is back in PFL.
So I just think I don't think it's gonna be a quick 1 minute, 2 minute fight. I think Ngannou will maybe switch it up, maybe get some takedowns as well. He doesn't need to force anything, but I think it goes 1.5, and I think ultimately Francis Ngannou does win this fight. So it's a little chalky. I put him in one of your parlays, but over 1.5 rounds at plus 165, I do like.
That's a great play, and I hope that for you, my boy. That the times that Renan Ferreira had lost, and they all have been overturned. We only lost to juicers. Rizvan Kunayev, Klidson Abreu both got tested positive for PEDs, and both of his decision losses got overturned to no contest. So, there's a chance that they could go to distance, but look at the majority of these fights for both guys. First round finishes. For me to expect this fight going outside of the first round, it was not clicking with me. I saw this fight ending in the first round, and there's just something about the age that scares me with Ngannou. I mean, he's never been hit like that by Anthony Joshua like that before. Like the way he was hit, knocked out. I mean, sometimes at a certain age, the chin just goes. And after connecting a shot like that, man, I do think that he may be compromised. I hate to see it. I hate to say it. I hate to see it. But I'm gonna take another dog. I'm gonna take Renan Ferreira because I feel like if he touches him on the chin once, I do feel like Francis Ngannou is gonna go out again. The same could be said. Ngannou has that absolute vicious power to put Ferreira away in the first round. But I'll take the plus money, plus 280 on Renan Ferreira. I would take, if you want to be unbiased, take the first round knockout TKO. I don't know if you can do that. If it's just a round one finish, I would put money on that. And maybe if you want to go specific and get even more value, Renan Ferreira, pick a side in the first round, go Renan Ferreira via KO, TKO first round. So all those, I think I'll play it. I think I'm gonna do those two live because I only had him on the money line, being that it could go longer if your bet hits, which I do think is a smart one. Not a lot of people are expecting it, but just based off what their history states, it's most likely going to end in the first round. So all I said was Problema plus 280. What do you have for round one finish? Did you see that by chance?
Anybody winning or just a fight?
Anybody winning in round one.
Let me see. No odds here. I do have, if you want to get Renan Ferreira to win in round one, it is plus 500.
I like that.
Renan Ferreira to win in round one. Yeah, 500 plus 450. Yeah, that's about it. I just don't have fights to end and a problem.
Not a problem. It's unfortunate. I do think that the books, or is it the promotions that need to communicate a little bit better with the books so that they can get these odds posted up? We were operating with Dana White Contender Series up until this point, literally much the last minute, like literally the day before. So I want these odds to be up a little bit earlier, just so we can kind of play it a little bit better and see what we're looking at. But that's it for PFL Super Fights Battle of the Giants.
Yeah, remember it starts at 1:30 Eastern here on the East Coast, 4 o'clock on the main card start. And that will lead us right into UFC Vegas 99. Back at the Apex, got a top 15 middleweight bout between Anthony fucking Hernandez taking on Michel Pereira. This is a low key. I like the main card. I think there's some very obviously the Jake Hadley replacement fight outside of that. But
interesting.
Yeah,
I like the dude's name. I picked him in a Dana White Contender Series last year, Cameron Smotherman. And, I mean, he's got a lot to prove here. It's not going to be a tough fight against a guy who's coming with the camp in Jake Haley, because I think he was favored against Brady Heastand to begin with. So he's going to be even a more favorite coming in here.
Yeah, and the prelims start at 4 o'clock. Main card goes off at 7 o'clock here on the East Coast on ESPN. And it all starts in a heavyweight bout, Robus Despain versus Austin Lane. Fraud versus fraud.
Because, exactly, I'm like, there's no reason to bet for this. I mean, it's like, Robus Despain is either going to win or Austin Lane's going to find a way to wrestle him if he's learned anything from his loss, from Despain's loss. So
why even bet it?
I didn't touch that fight, but I do expect Robus to get it back on track, knock Austin Lane out within 30 seconds.
Please talk about.
Please. Not touching Elise Arnie Lane fight, Melissa Martinez, Jessica Penne versus Elise Reed. I hate to say it. A bunch of mid fights here, man. Jocelyn Edwards, Tamaris Vidal. You said it with the opening. Staying away from the first 4 fights. There's a lot going to be going on before them, so I think I can have some time to get into one of the prelim fights, which starts at the bantamweight division. Brad Katona is plus 220, taking on Yan Matsumoto at minus 235. I am all in on Yan Matsumoto. After seeing him with the come behind victory last time out, every time he gets ahead, man, he just pulls away. And like I said, he has the ability to come in clutch. So I just like everything I'm seeing about the dude. Brad Katona has been up and down. Though he has good striking, Matsumoto has finishing ability with the striking. Brad Katona has not shown that. He's a guy to get you to decision after, a dominant display on the feet. I think Matsumoto could even take him down and finish him there. So I got to lay the chalk. I got to play him straight up. Minus 235. Give me Matsumoto to start us up in the UFC. And now we move to the flyweight fight. Matus Nicolau is plus 165. He's taking on Kazakhstan's Asu Almabayev at minus 180. And, Nicolau, he's always been a tough competitor. He's in there until the end, until he isn't. I just think Asu Almabayev is going to have the total package against him. I think he could start out wrestling and maybe even finish him on the feet just to show a well-rounded skill set. So, once again, I'll lay to minus 180. I think that's a very fair price for Asu Almabayev, especially if he does get a dominant victory over Nicolau. I don't think we'll see him at this low of a price at any of future fights. So yeah, give me Almabayev at minus 180. I'll lay it. And here's I'm doing something here in this next fight that I haven't done in quite a while. So hope you understand, D-Rock, where I'm coming from. But this next fight in the featherweight division is between the damaged Darren Elkins. He's a dog, as always. Plus 110, taking on the Pit Daniel Pineda at minus 120. You know what Darren Elkins is trying to do. He's trying to drag this out and finish you in the late rounds. He's trying to bring the damage to you late, get bloodied up, take a punch, and deliver his ass whooping that he always does. But I got to hedge it, man. I got to take the dog with Darren Elkins at plus 110, and I'm going to take a hedge here because the pit and Darren Elkins is notoriously known for getting caught in the first round. Daniel Pineda gets his finishes in the first round. So I'll take the dog at plus 110, and I'll lay the hedge with the pit. Daniel Pineda, round one win at plus 275. I think it's worth it. I hate doing the hedging, but I just think this one, it's going to be one way or the other. And now we've made it to the bantamweight division where Cameron Smotherman was replacing Brady Heastan. Did you see the updated odds? He's probably like a plus. Forget about it. Am I wrong for saying that?
No, sorry, I was on the PFL real quick. Yeah, so right now, Jake Hadley minus 480, 500. Cameron Smotherman plus 435, plus 380. So it ranges.
Man, Jake Hadley's fought better competition. He's been in the ranks of the UFC. He's coming with the camp. He was ready to fight Brady Heastan, who was high level. And, going into this, I might have favored Heastan. I can't really go with Cameron Smotherman. The nickname is fantastic, along with the last name. I mean, Cameron, the babyface killer Smotherman. I mean, dude, I'm not gonna mess with a dude like with that name situation going on. But I mean, we saw he lost in the Dana White Contender Series to Jared Lampis Gregor. We saw what he did in his last two outings in the UFC. Not good at all. I'm very fearful for Cameron Smotherman in this. If you guys are ballsy enough to go ahead and take him, kudos to you, but I'm not. I think I got to take Jake Hadley. I mean, he's minus 400. Man, it's probably going to be an inside the distance victory. I'll be honest with you. So my official play, like I said, was leaning with Heastan to begin with, but now we got a replacement. I'll take Hadley inside the distance. What's the odds on that?
Yeah, so inside the distance for Jake Hadley. Let me get that real quick for you. Inside the distance. Minus 130. So it's playable.
Yeah, it's playable. Better than, like you said, minus whatever 400 he was at. So, yeah, I think that's the right side, unfortunately. But let's move along to a feature bout. As you talked about the fight of the night in the PFL, I think this can go down as fight of the night in the flyweight division. Speed kills. Sue Mudaerji has basically never gone to the judges' scorecards. And the only time he's ever lost is via submission. So I think Charles Johnson, Energy, is going to have to pull out a little bit of that from his histories. He has a Darce, he has an Anaconda. I do think that a little head snap and roll could work in his favor. At minus 210, probably going to have to pull that chalk down a little bit to play Charles Johnson here. He's a favorite for a reason. And I think, like I said, if he pulls out a submission, I think that would be surprising. So give me Energy via submission. I would play the minus 210. If I'm playing Jan Matsumoto straight up, maybe you can incorporate both the minus 200 favorites and a little two-leg parlay to play it safe on the money line. But other than that, give me Charles Energy Johnson via submission here. What do you have on those?
That's at plus 350 as well. I was even looking towards that as well. I like Charles Johnson here. I saw him live. I like his range. He can get the finish. He could go all 3 rounds. He's durable. I like the over 1.5 rounds as well. Kind of like something like I did with D-Rod last week. Combine the over 1.5 rounds with Charles Johnson money line. I think you'll get a really good price as well. Yeah. But yeah, I think he's just better everywhere. Just as long as he doesn't get tagged early on, I think he should be good.
Badger's explosive.
Yeah, exactly. So as long as he doesn't get tagged early, I think he should be good. This will be a good win to get him back into the ranks. I think he's a win or two away to get back into the ranks. Yeah. I really feel like he's finding his rhythm lately.
He absolutely is. And, Sue Mudaerji, he puts all of it out in the first round. I like that 1.5. If he can weather the storm, Johnson, I have him in my topology with the second round submission. So let's hope the 1.5 hits, and we hope the submission hits in the second round, late in the second round. Let's go on to highly anticipated bantamweight showdown in the co-main event slot here, man. Rob Font plus 360 taking on Kyler the Matrix Phillips at minus 370. D-Rock, I'll hand it off to you. Who are you taking in the co-main event here?
New England Cartel, baby. This is, I think, the fight of the night, in my opinion. I'm going to take Phillips here to win via decision at minus 125. We've seen such a big evolution, in my opinion, in Phillips' last few fights. His striking is clean. He has good wrestling if it goes down to the mat. But Font, extremely durable, tough to put away. He could go all 5 rounds. He's fought the who's. Phillips just needs to go in there and get a win, in my opinion, and move on. He doesn't need to go and starch him. Just get a win over a top 10 guy who's always hovering around the 7 to 11 range in the division. But just survive in advance. Give me Kyle Phillips to win via decision at -125.
I like that. I think the odds are, in your favor there. About half the victories you have do go to decision. I mean, he has fantastic wrestling. He has great jiu-jitsu, and he's improving significantly on the feet. I do like Kyler Phillips a lot. And looking back, when he fought Raulian Paiva, he lost that majority decision. I think that was a strategic loss. I don't think he showed up all too well there. But if, let's say, he won there, he would have been next to fight Sean O'Malley during his run. And he might have got knocked out too early in his career and maybe derailed what Kyler Phillips was trying to do. So remember, Raulian Paiva beat him, and he got the shot against Sean O'Malley, and he got finished badly. So, I mean, Kyler Phillips is very smart fighter. He's intelligent. But this is a big step up of competition, man. I mean, he got the victory against Song Yadong. You know what I mean? I know that's there. Pedro Munoz, there's some good wins on his belt. But, I mean, dude, Rob Font here in the co-main event slot, where we talked about the lights being the brightest, being in the spot more often, being comfortable in your own skin, and being able to throw that jab out, which I do think he's going to be a longer fighter in there. If he could sprawls and sprawl and brawl against Kyler Phillips, I like the plus 370 from Rob Font. Give me New England Cartel. I'm going to go with the dog here, Rob Font. And so may the best man win in this co-main event, my boy. I had to do it to you. UFC Vegas 99 concludes in the middleweight division with Michel Pereira at -125, taking on Anthony fucking Hernandez at -125. I said it,
You said it wrong. Anthony Hernandez is the favorite.
I -125. I said no.
Yeah, you said Michel Pereira favorite -125.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you're good.
Plus 125, and Anthony Fluffy Hernandez at -125. Look, man, Fluffy Hernandez is a real deal. I don't know how many of the casual viewers do know how good he actually is. I mean, 12-2 record. He's beaten everyone that nobody expected him to beat. You know what I mean? Every fight, I think, after the Rodolfo Vieira fight was kind of like a setup for him. Even that fight itself was. He comes off the Kevin Holland fight and he loses. And I think they're like, let's try to get, some other stars to get wins off Anthony Hernandez. And he's just, you can never count this guy out. The only thing that I worry about is Michel Pereira, because he don't know what to expect from the guy. You really don't. I mean, he'll throw backflips, cartwheels, spinning heel kicks, flying knees, and maybe that could work against him if Anthony could weather that storm early yet again and finish him late. But I'm going to take a shot. I'm going to take Michel Pereira with the finishing capability, and most likely early. I like the dogs. They're barking for me. They were barking early for the PFL, and they're barking late for the UFC. So I'll take the Limador at +125. I would even look for him to get a first-round finish. The submissions are there. Hernandez is very educated with them, but I do think it's more likely to go with a KO TKO for Pereira. I think if he pushes the pace, I think he's going to have to go for it, because I think taking a chance here, I do think that you're probably going to go with Fluffy Hernandez. We haven't talked about it. I just think that he has more ways to win. So Michel's going to have to go all out and try to get that first round victory.
Yeah, this line's been all over the place. It all started. It started with Fluffy being a big favorite, then being bet down to even money. Now it's up. He's up to a decent favorite again, around -140. I'm seeing. So I'm gonna take the dog here, though. I like Michel Pereira. Will he be able to stuff the takedowns? That's the big question. First round. I think he's obviously the better striker. When he isn't doing all this fucking crazy shit, he's the stronger, more powerful fighter. He's knocking people out. He's pacing himself, which I like to see. He just has to stop these early takedowns and make himself not get tired. If he could do that, I think he goes out there and he finishes them. I like it at +126. I'm going to take the dog in the main event.
Hey, man, I didn't expect that from you. I really thought you were going with Fluffy. As we said, we don't really discuss our picks before the show, so all this comes as a surprise for you. Sometimes we align, and sometimes we're on opposite sides. So that was UFC Vegas 99, and I'm excited for this weekend because I'm going to be going to the Coastal Carolina game tomorrow now. So after that, I'm going to be tuning in all this stuff.
I love it, kid. Well, good luck this whole weekend. Battle of the Giants. We got UFC Vegas 99 as well. We'll talk about 10 seconds left in KSW 99 in Poland. We'll talk about that in a sec. But real quick, got some news that I wanted to share. Fight announced UFC 310 at the Mecca December. Oh, no, not the Mecca. You have T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Ruba boy Randy Brown will take on the Butcher Brian Battle. What a fight this
That
is.
got switched up, right? Because Brian Battle was supposed to take on someone else, or was Randy Rude
No,
Boy
Randy Brown was supposed to take on someone else. It got switched.
It got flopped. I like that fight. It's gonna be tough. It's certainly gonna be. I admire both fighters very much. You know how we respect Randy Rude Boy Brown. He's coming to clutch for us plenty of times, and I mean, you and I have kind of fallen in love with Brian Battle after seeing that victory live in Charlotte. I mean, he's a fan favorite guy, so I think it's a tremendous fight. I think it's a little bit of a clash of the style. Brian Battle may have better stand-up skills, even though Randy does have a great jab and he throws a 1-2 excellent. I do think he has stronger wrestling and grappling. So I do think it's probably a little clash of a style. And I don't know where to lean, man. I'm probably gonna have to take a total on this because I like both guys. So I don't know. Do you have an early lean? Do you have a favorite?
It's so hard because they're like two of my favorite fighters. I love them both, and expect a huge call out after. We're gonna catch
Either
another
guy
big
on the
promo.
mic is gonna do fantastic.
Yeah, love that. I love that fight. Also, UFC 312 was announced in the land down under. It will take place in Sydney, Australia, February 8th. UFC 312. It's going back under. Do we see a Volkanovski return headline?
Damn, who's going to fight? He's going to fight like the winner of Max and Ilya?
Or Diego Lopez.
I heard that too. That scares me for Volk, bro. Diego Lopez is destroyer, man.
Is he a Hall of Famer? If there was.
Oh, Volk?
Yeah.
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 100%. Yeah, bro.
I like it. I think he needs to be on this card. I don't think he's. Oh no, he's fought. He's fought in.
But that's enough rest, I think.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
certainly
he cleared the cobwebs from the Islam's fight. Also, our boy Daniel Cowboy Cerrone. He's announced he is coming out of retirement for those 2 fights to get to 50. At this point, kid, correct me if I'm wrong. You've seen Cowboy through his whole career. He has nothing to prove anymore. He's already a Hall of Famer. I know he's getting that itch back. He wants to get to 50 fights.
Yeah,
but I don't want to see him getting effects. He has 2 kids. He has a wife. It's not good.
It's fucking Donald Cowboy Cerrone, bro. Nothing bad's gonna happen. This dude has.
What if he gets starched?
It's not gonna happen. I'm telling you.
What about Conor knocked him out in what, 50 seconds?
It doesn't matter. That's Conor McGregor, bro. The styles didn't match up well, and you got to know Cerrone came in with barely any camp, and Conor was like 2 years of camp after the healing. I'm confident in Cowboy Cerrone, man. I don't think that he's going to lose even. I would take him again. I would take him to get the victory on his way back. I really would. You got to think, man. Every time he had a fight, major championship fight, any main event that he had in the UFC, he was Dana White's worst nightmare because he was jet skiing and paragliding and never once missed a fight. I don't think he ever missed weight. I believe in Donald Cowboy Cerrone. You're right. He doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. He's done it all. But he's the type of guy to come back and get a victory after he retired, just like Jose Aldo did.
But I'm glad you brought Jose Aldo up because I don't want him going in the same way and fighting a fucking Jonathan Pierce or a Mario. That doesn't do anything for us, for his legacy, for anybody. So I want him to go out and fight maybe a Tony Ferguson. I don't want him getting hurt. Fight Tony Ferguson again.
That's a fight that never happened, I don't think. Did they fight?
No, they fought once.
They did. Tony got him. So maybe, honestly, I would hate that.
Really?
But
so what do you want to see
Donald
Cowboy
fight versus Tony? Donald would win that fight.
Who do you want to see Cowboy fight?
You're right. It would have to be son of a legacy fighter. It would have to be a fighter that's a veteran. I don't want him fighting. He doesn't have to go for the title. That's never been his forte. So he doesn't have to fight anyone ranked. He doesn't have to fight any up-and-coming risers. He's got to fight someone that's on his level, maybe relatively close to his age. And where is he going to be competing at? Did he make that announcement? Is it going to be at 170 again? Or is it going to be at 155?
I would assume it'd be at 170.
I want him to cut too much weight at his age, Yeah. So I just still think he got it. I mean, he rode, recently he rode Dana White's bull. So this dude's been active. He's got the BMF ranch. He's got fighters constantly coming in. This dude has never stopped training. Donald Cerrone is a Hall of Famer and a legend. And I agree with you. He should certainly fight an OG, a respective OG or veteran or someone that's close to his age, his peer, when it's something like that.
And then last note I have on the UFC side, unfortunately, our boy Platinum Mike Perry was arrested in Florida early Saturday morning, driving under the influence. He did come out. He apologized. He owned up to it. He said him and his wife went out to dinner. He had a little too much to drink. He received a second charge for refusing to sign a citation. So he has court October 30th. He has been released $15,000 or $1,500 bail in Florida. But yeah, apparently, I just hope we see him back in BKFC soon. They came out and said he does have a fight, hopefully for early 2025. But yeah, very sad news though.
You're fired. Conor comes out. Mike Perry sucks still. He's fired.
Fired.
Now, I'm sure David Feldman would want him back. Conor McGregor's just putting that on because I do think he wants to fight him in a way. You know what I mean? I think it'll make for a more promotable fight. Man, it's fighters, bro. You know what I mean? At Mike Perry, above all that, I mean, he's come a long way. We don't want to see him go down a slippery slope of what he was prior. But, I mean, slip-ups like these do happen, and I know it's no excuse, but I'm sure with him manning up to it and addressing the issue right away, we will forgive him for that. It's, you know, when you try to hide and cover up stuff is when we discover it, and you were lying the whole time is when you lose credibility and respect. But the fact that he got out in front of it and is trying to do the right thing, I'm sure the guys at BKFC will back him.
And then we got boxing news. Dmitry Bivol's team, obviously he had that tough loss to Artur Beterbiev, but Bivol's teams reportedly filed protests with all four sanctioning bodies, WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO against Artur Beterbiev, result seeking an immediate rematch. Do you think he gets it?
Yeah, I do. I just don't think the call is going to be overturned. He's going to have that loss in his record.
Yeah, definitely going to have his call. I don't think it was a robbery. I think Artur Beterbiev, even though I scored it for Bivol, I do think he
might have gotten that without this.
Yeah.
I think he would have gotten a rematch without this because I don't think there's really much else outside of moving a weight class for either fighter left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they would have to rematch. And then from there, they can maybe move on to fight other guys. But he didn't have to go through this level. I can understand the frustration about it all. But like you said, it was not a robbery. It was just a close fight.
Before we get to 10 seconds left, kid, we are less than a month away from the biggest card ever. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, November 15th at Jerry World. Obviously, the main fight in this is Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano in the co-main event. But, kid, we're just less than a month away, November 15th.
Yeah, I mean, October, you know, it's not done yet. Still got a lot to go here. But November looks good. December looks good. Man, but the train just keeps rolling, bro. And all power to Iron Mike Tyson. He is going to knock out Jake Paul for all of us.
You saw Jake Paul post that video where he was sparring and knocked the guy down and said, "Watch out, Mike. He's coming."
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's scary, bro. It's fucking.
But Jake is putting on some size. You got to admit,
he's prime, bro. I mean, it's not the fairest of fights, but
100%.
We're all rooting for Mike Tyson. I mean, maybe, you know, young kids that don't really understand the world yet will be rooting for Jake Paul because they've seen him more. But in the fabric of reality that I want to live in, I want Iron Mike Tyson to knock
him out. I think most people do. Now, objectively, let me ask you a question before we get to 10 seconds left. Objectively, do you agree that Jake Paul has gotten better and is a legit boxer at this point?
Yes, and I'm scared that he will knock out Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's my main concern. I don't want to live in that world.
No.
Mike Tyson has to use his fight IQ. He's definitely have to cut a lot of angles, maybe bob and weave a lot. Jake Paul is going to be headhunting, and so we see
he holds that overhand right. We know
he holds his power well into the late rounds, but he can get gas. So if Mike has worked on his gas tank, and I'm sure with Rafael Cordero, he's certainly done that, especially throwing the mitts and the level that he has. I'm sure Mike Tyson's going to come with a good game plan, and he's going to be coming in shape. It's now gone pushed back, and I'm sure with more camp time, he's gotten even better. I've seen some of the footage that Mike's put out, and he looks locked in. So I'm sure he's ready to prove this kid wrong and get us all hyped up and make sure that we know who's the real fighters and who aren't.
All roads lead to Jerry World. Gotta love it. Cage War, KSW 99. We got a heavyweight main event in Poland tomorrow afternoon. Joe, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get back on track. I broke the streak last week. But hey, for KSW 99, it's a heavyweight showdown. Michael Martinek, I mean, he's always there for the KSW people, always fighting for them. But he's a dog in his spot at plus 150, taking on Stefan Wojciak at minus 200. Now, Wojciak, you know, I got to take him here, the mutant. I know he's a favorite. I know I'm laying a little chalk. I've got to right my wrong. And normally, sometimes when I get burned in the past, I don't want to go back and go with them. He's burnt me in the past against Darko Sijicic. Lost that fight. I had him, both undefeated guys. I went with Stefan Wojciak. But gonna have him right his wrong last time. And I think that, he's younger, he's fresher. And I think that if he gets a victory here, maybe he can get some of those fights back that he lost. So yeah, give me the favorite minus 200 on the Mutant. I do think it's probably going to end in the KO TKO. So if you do have those prop bets, take Volchak, the Mutant with the KO TKO.
Joe, this has been amazing. Good luck this weekend. Let's get back on track with 10 seconds left. And I'll leave you with 3 words. Let's go